Hey everyone, welcome back, or welcome, this is your first time. This evening I'm using the GOAT of all soaps. At least scent-wise, performance-wise is easily in my top 5. If you've seen the thumbnail, you already know what I'm using. But that is Black Amber Vanilla from WSP. This is in their rustic. Yeah, rustic formula, which is their vegan. Only way that you can get this one is in their vegan. The razor this evening is one that I have on loan. I've had it for some time and I haven't used it yet. Sorry, Charles. And that is the Katana from Yaqi, or Yaqi, or Yaqi, however you want to say it. I believe the proper pronunciation is Yaqi. I could be wrong, so I've heard a few people say it. This is a single edge razor. It takes a half DE. Blade is already loaded. This is a second use crown. I'm not going to load this on camera. It's a little interesting to load. I'll show you if I remember, I'll show you the loading or unloading of the blade afterwards. Kind of show the underhand of the head here. The handle is one, I don't know if this comes with it. It's one that Charles had, so he let me use that as well. The brush is my Chop Shop travel brush. Haven't used this one in quite some time, so I figured why not break it out using a razor I have on loan from Charles. Might as well use a brush that Charles made. I haven't used this one in quite some time, so figure why the heck not. Lather looked up beautifully in the copper Captain's Choice bowl. Far too much lather here for just a face shave, but I could send to shave my head too, so we'll do that off camera afterwards. Now with the Yaqi, the Katana, I don't know why I thought this, but initially I thought it was a razor that took AC blades, kind of like the, what's it called, the Hawk. Or not anywhere near the quality of this, but why am I blanking the name from the Blackland? It's not the Saber, I can't remember what it's called. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Drawing a blank. Brain fart on the Blackland Vector. For some reason, I thought it was kind of like the Vector or the Hawk, or it took AC blades. But no, I was severely mistaken. It is like the Hawk, not the Hawk, the Echo, and it takes half DE. Now, of course, that DE can be in a saloon blade, like I have loaded right now, or a snapped in half DE blade. Maybe the snapped in half would load slightly easier. I don't know, I've had this loaded for a couple weeks. I can't remember, it took a little bit to load it, just because it was a little fiddly. Now, in speaking to Charles, he said this is fairly aggressive. You can see, maybe if my lighting would cooperate, the blade there, potentially. So it looks like there's a pretty decent amount of exposure and a pretty good blade gap. So I have not used this before. Also, I'm using WP tonight. Okay, a little bit of blade feel. You can hear that sing. It is definitely a blade feel razor. Hyper blade feel? No. Good amount of blade feel? Absolutely. And I love this scent. I'm just enjoying the scent. I haven't used this for a while. I don't use this that often anymore because it is my favorite scent. And while I do have another puck on reserve that I did get, that was gifted to me by a very good friend of mine, it just didn't work for them as far as the fragrance goes. So I do have another backup puck. So I'm not fearful of it running out. What I don't want to happen is for it to lose that special feeling behind the use. You know, if you guys have a favorite restaurant that you go to, you know, for special occasions, right? And if you go to that restaurant too many times, it just kind of loses that special feeling for it. I mean, it's still your favorite restaurant or one of your favorite restaurants, but it's no longer as special. That's kind of how I feel with Black Ember Vanilla from WSP. It is my favorite scent, so I don't want to use it too much because I don't want it to lose that ambiance to it. I like the feedback on this. I will say that the head is more comfortable to use than the Eco, at least for me. I'm not saying the Eco's a bad razor. I quite like the Eco. But this just seems smoother, even with what looks like more blade exposure and slightly more blade feel. So this is a more comfortable head to me than the Eco. And I just realized I did not bring out the splash for this. It's still sitting in my closet. You can see no problems with the lather whatsoever. It's WSP. Now, I do understand people don't like these janky ass tins. I get it. I really do. If you are, especially if you're a face lather or load off the tub as well, tins make it hard. And having, the only thing that comes in the plastic tubs is the cream. People don't want creams. Or if you don't want the cream, but you don't want the tin, I can understand shying away from WSP. But the performance on their soap is absolutely top notch. It is, in my opinion, a top tier soap. It is one of my favorites after all. At least for me, it's my go-to soap. The first time using a razor the first time using a razor. And all things considered, you know, I try to use this roughly the same blade or blade I'm very familiar with. Try to use the same bowl. Doesn't really matter as long as it's a knot I'm familiar with as well. The Chop Chop Trowel Brush has a Duro knot in it. I have 2 others with Duros, so I think I have 3 Duro knots. It's a knot I know well. And those pieces of soap I know well. So, with all that considered, I try to keep everything the same. And with that, keeping the soap, at least the brand, Now, with WSP for me, it doesn't really matter if it's the tallow base or their vegetable. I can't remember if it's vegetable or vegan base. Not unfamiliar with, bowl I'm familiar with. Blade that I've used numerous times before. Doing all of that helps me get a good feel for that razor. And all things considered, the Katana is a very comfortable razor to use. The head is lightweight, easily maneuverable. This handle is a little slick. Of course, I am holding it here in the center, not by the knurling. If I were held it up here, or I don't know why I hold it down here, but I could hold it down here. I think we're holding it more to the head. If it is not balanced here, this kind of feels more like the balance with this head. This was holding it there. It kind of got a little slick. But no weepers, no irritation, nothing there. Just a really, really nice shave. So I'm going to clean up off camera, and I'll be right back for post-shave thoughts. All right, so off camera, did a cold water rinse to take off all the lather, finished off with a little bit of witch hazel, and I was able to get the splash. So as you can see, splash is a good way halfway gone, as is the soap. Now, final thoughts on the Katana. At least with my initial impressions, it's a nice smooth razor. Very comfortable to use, at least with the crown blade, which crowns aren't super, they're not super sharp. They're sharp, they get the job done, but they're not super high-end, sharp blades. This is a close, comfortable shave. Absolutely enjoyable, thoroughly enjoyable. Now, as far as I mentioned with the head, you might be able to see, again, that little bit of blade exposure, overhang. So if I take it off, and taking the handle off is a little wonky as well, because the head's so small, I had to end up doing that. So with the handle, see, I can't remember where this goes on. Okay, so you have our 3 posts. Just clean this off a little bit. Did rinse this off very well, apparently, after the shave. So you can see, just kind of sits there. There's nothing holding the blade in the front, unlike the Eco. The Eco has those posts in front that would be right there for that cut on the blade. So it just kind of sits on the handle. It's easy to get this too much exposure, which I probably had in that one because I was sitting up quite high. So it's really easy to get that blade kind of just off because it just sits on those posts. And then take the base plate, and again, because it's really small, and if you get it wet, it's even more slick. And just kind of have to put that on and put that on there. And even there, you can tell with it wet, that blade exposure is uneven. So to me, that is a major downside with the Katana, is it just doesn't hold the blade. And then if you have wet hands, your head's a little wet, it's really hard to get that blade loaded. If you look at the Eco, I mean, yeah, the head on the Eco is significantly larger than the Katana, but you have the posts for the front and back. So I like that much better than on the Katana. The Katana, however, I think is more comfortable of a razor to use than this, and that could be just because of how this head is slanted. That shape works really well in the Hawk, not so much on the Eco. But Anyway, the Katana is like, I don't know the price of it. It's a pretty dang cheap razor. I want to say under 20 bucks. If you don't mind fiddling with the head, trying to get the blade loaded, it is definitely worth picking up. Extremely comfortable to use. Close, comfortable shave with that crown. Even in my trouble spots, it's BBS. So, again, downside, the head, loading the blade, everything else, it's fantastic. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble. So I will just cut this off here and thank you everybody for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all next time.